Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Evolve Beyond Limits podcast, where we talk about all things personal growth, transformation, and stress optimization. So let's get into it today. Um, this one is really near and dear to my heart, this topic. And it is, and if you've seen me at all, you've probably heard me say this. We don't have an information problem, we have an integration problem. Okay, so constantly consuming information and information gathering, as I like to call it, is just a really, really creative avoidance technique. Okay, and avoidance is actually one of the root causes of stress in our lives that needs to be addressed. So let me explain, because this one is sneaky. You can read 50 books a year, listen to a new podcast every single day, scroll TikTok and social media, and do more and more research. Okay. And your mind is going to tell you that you're doing something productive. Okay. So you can justify it and say that you're moving forward towards your goals. I'm learning more information. I'm gathering more stuff. I'm reading productive books. I'm reading all these personal growth books, and I'm doing all of these things, and I'm listening to all these podcasts on my health and my well-being and my personal growth and business and all of this stuff. Right. And that's true. That is true. But the more true thing is that you are more than likely actually avoiding taking the action that's going to move you forward towards the goals you have set. It is the perfect, most sneaky distraction. Okay. And when you break down this word, distraction. So again, wife of an EOS implementer, but in EOS, it's all like when they talk about traction, they talk about how traction is all about having a vision and getting tangible results by focusing on clear action and follow through. That is their definition of traction. Okay, clear action, have the vision, and then you take clear action and then you follow through on that action. Now, anytime you put dis before anything, it means to pull apart or to pull away from. So when you dislocate your shoulder, okay, you pull it away from the body. Okay, so distraction is to pull away from forward movement. It's to pull away from clear action and follow through, to pull away from traction or forward movement. So there's this triad when it comes to reaching your goals, when it comes to transformation, when it comes from bringing a vision from up here down to earth and making it tangible. And that is, one leg is awareness. You could say that this leg is where information gathering comes from. You have to become aware of new things. You have to learn new things, because if we didn't do that, then there would be nothing to act upon. If we don't become aware that there's a problem, then we don't know to take action on the problem. If we don't realize that there's something we don't know, we don't know what to do. We wouldn't know that there's something different that we could do about it, right? So I have learned amazing things from books and podcasts through this lens of information gathering or becoming aware. But the second leg, okay, is execution or action. This is where you take what you've learned and you apply it to your life. You actually experience it. You put it into action. And that is where so much transformation actually happens. And so the last leg is where you reflect on it and see, what did I learn? How did this impact my life? Would I use it again? Would I do this? What other things might I need to learn about this to either expand upon it or refine it or whatever that looks like? But you need all three of these, okay? All three legs to have wisdom. You don't get to reflect or form an opinion on something until you've tried it, until you've implemented it, until you've taken action on that thing. So when we talk about wisdom, wisdom is knowledge in action. Knowledge in and of itself is simply a theory, right? Until you take action on something, until you integrate it or you experiment with it in your own life and you actually experience it, then you have a crap ton of information, a whole lot of theories, but very little wisdom. Okay. And it's just important for us to recognize that. So in the book, Chop Wood, Carry Water, which is one of my favorite books, I'm actually rereading it right now. It is, I especially, this is one of the books too, that if you have a family, I recommend that you read it together as a family, because it's just a beautiful book with so many lessons in it that I think is beautiful. But I think it's chapter 4. He calls this artificial maturity. Okay. So Akira explains the difference between gnosko, which I may be completely saying this wrong, but this is the gnosko is the knowledge of something, the knowledge of something. Okay. Yada, which means knowledge gained through experiencing something. And the two of them are very different. Okay. So I'm just going to read you this quick excerpt. He talks about the difference between these two things. And then Akira says, "Who would you want to go into battle with, John? Someone who has studied and read about war for 25 years, or someone who has trained and experienced the front lines of battle?" "Well, when you put it that way, I want the person who has the real experience in battle," said John. An ancient warrior once said, "It is one thing to study war and another to live the warrior's life. In a world where anyone can look up information online, it's deceptively easy to gain knowledge. You can get pretty confident by reading everything you can get your hands on about a certain subject. It's called artificial maturity. But knowing how to do something and having practical experience actually doing something are radically different." So I'm going to leave you with this. My life completely changed when I stopped reading books, reading or listening to podcasts, and I started experiencing them. And I started taking them and putting them into action in my life. So I might read or listen to a few podcasts a year, maybe. But here's the thing, is that I ensure that the information that I'm consuming is in alignment with my goals. So that's the first thing, is what I'm reading in alignment with my goals. So right now I am reading a book called The Energy of Money, because I am focused on transforming my relationship with money. Now, another good distraction technique would be to say that I'm committed to transforming my relationship with money, and then reading a book about spirituality or health or some other topic that's actually irrelevant to the goals that I have set for this particular quarter. So find something that is relevant to the goals that you say that you have, which actually I might do a podcast right after this, and I'm going to talk about what goals are and how we can kind of narrow some of those down. And take as long as it takes to experiment with the things that are in that book. So what I do is I actually read maybe a chapter. Sometimes it's only a few pages, and I do the exercises. I do the journaling. I commit to trying out what it's teaching for the next few days, for the next week, however long it takes me to kind of put this into action and see, is this working? Is something shifting? What can I take from this? How can I refine this slightly? And then see kind of what changes. And then I'll read a few more pages and stack that on top of the things that I just learned from the previous thing. And yes, it takes a very long time. You guys, I'm not going to get a gold star for how many books I read in a year. I am not going to, that would never even be a goal of mine, to read 50 books in 1 year or whatever that looks like, because I am more of a quality over quantity person. And so I'm not going to get a gold star. My ego is not going to feel good, because I'm like, it's going to take me a really long time to read these books. But my goal is not to collect information. It's to collect experiences that allow me to gain more wisdom in the different subjects that I am growing in, that I'm choosing to transform. So my challenge to you is to pick one book and try experiencing it instead of reading it. So if you are in the middle of one, start now, right? You don't have to go back to the beginning. Just start now. Start in this very moment. Say, okay, I'm going to start experiencing this book, and I'm going to see what happens. Don't wait until later. Don't put it off. Don't say, I'll start tomorrow. Start today and see what happens. And then also make it a point to shut out everything else. Stop listening to podcasts. Stop the endless research. Stop the hours and hours of consumption and start taking action instead. Think, what action can I take from the information that I just gathered? What action can I take from the information that I just gathered? And just make it a point to shift from artificial maturity to wisdom keeper and watch your life transform faster than you can ever imagine in that process. Okay, that's all I've got for you today. Just remember that transformation starts with awareness and it builds with action. And so if this resonated with you, or if it resonated and you think about somebody else when this pops up, share it with somebody who you think might need to hear it, and keep evolving. And I will see you in the next one.